So this is a Scrappers Dash Saturday. So I'm working on my scrapbook, and we are truly using scraps today, which is, I think, the first time in the scrapbook that I'm using purely scraps, which is kind of amazing. I've generated enough scraps to do so, I guess, in these color schemes. So we're doing a single page layout, and these are the scraps I'm going to be using. So we have Bluebell, we have Serenity. This is the Serenity bulk. I believe it's a bulk zip strip. Nope, just regular Serenity zip strip. It has the toffee. I have a piece of toffee and an espresso, and I believe we're going to do sapphire as well. And I do have a sapphire. So there's that. Let me adjust my light so you guys can see a little bit better. Yeah, that's a bit better. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and pull the trimmer out. And get to cutting. First, my background is going to be a daisy. Okay, so I'm going to just put my daisy aside for right now, because I'm not ready to tape anything down or adhere it down. And I have these lined up how I want them placed on the page. So I'm going to keep the order that they're in, hopefully. Okay, so I'm going to be doing Bluebell first. And I'm using a design out of Make It From Your Heart number 5. If you guys haven't done so, check these out. They're amazing. I love the Make It From Your Heart books. And 5 is just amazing. They really outdid themselves this time. So this is pattern 2 in that book, in case you guys are wondering. So there's that one. That's an inch, and then I'm going to also do a 1/2 inch. Oh, I still had a little daisy on there. And then 1/2 inch. Okay. Then I also need a 4 1/4 by 6 1/4. This will hold a 4 by 6 photo. So it's not quite 6 1/4, so I'm going to go ahead and do 6 1/4 first on the lengthwise, and then trim it. And then 4 1/4. So there's a 4 1/4 by 6 1/4. I'm going to put that aside, put these back in my scraps. Okay, this one I think I already have an inch, but the other one I got to split. So there's that one. This one I got to split into 2 at 1/2 inch. So this is going to be the very first page in the book. I know people are probably thinking, oh, you're just now doing the first page. Yeah, I am. I didn't do it before. But this is going to be my grandfather's parents' picture on this one. Okay, now these are already 1/2 inch, so I'm going to just keep them as such. I'm not going to trim those ones down. I'm just ordering these in the order that they need to go. Okay. Okay, now I'm going to do this one, which will be just 1/2 inch. So I just need to trim it in half. I guess it's a 1 1/2 inch strip. I thought this was a 1 inch strip. Good. Okay. And then I have an espresso, and I need a 1 inch and a 1/2 inch again. So these are all 1 and 1/2 inch strips. More halves than ones. I'll show you how they go. Hopefully I can keep it figured out and lined up on my place over here. Okay. So there's that. Those two go in my scraps again. Okay, so I have bluebell cut out. The only other one that I need is the sapphire. And this is going to be a 3x9. So I only need to trim just a little bit off of there, but I think I'm going to trim the 9 first. And I believe this is a 12. Yeah, so I'm just going to trim 3. And that 3 inches is going to go into my scraps, and then I'm going to do 3 on this one, which is only like a 1/4 inch off of what I have for my scrap. And that one I'm not going to keep. Okay, I think that's pretty much all the trimming that we need. I also have a 2.5 inch circle cut out in case you don't have a Cricut or you're wondering where the 2.5 inch circle came from. I looked in here, this is not a 2.5 inch circle, the largest one is not. So what I did was I took my, this is the shaker window frame here, and the inside of that is the 2.5. And if you're looking for a 3, this is your 3 inch. So between several different thin cuts, you can figure it out, right? Okay. Now, the stamp sets that I've been debating on, I'm going to be using this one today. If you haven't used this, this is really pretty. This is the Floral Borders and Sentiments. It's in our new catalog, so chances are you haven't used it unless you just received it in the mail. But that's a thank you card that I'm working on, using it so that you can see how it works. But I'll show you on this. I'm going to stamp it on Daisy, and then we'll attach it on. This is Daisy Meadows from last catalog. And I have a couple flowers already cut out, so I'm going to be using these, not those little guys, but these ones and the big ones. So I already have those cut out, so we'll be using those. And that's Daisy Meadows. That's a, I think it's the scrapbooking. Yeah, scrapbooking set. Then I'm debating. I may change my mind, I don't know. So I have this stamp here that says Trust the Magic of New Beginnings, which is really, I like that a lot. And this is a picture of, this is going to be a picture of my grandfather's parents. So the other one that I like is Forever Wouldn't Be Long Enough. And I also like the husband and wife, and I would use the sand sign from this set, which I believe this was January, February catalog. Yeah, Happiness Lives Here. And then I also have My Life Story, so I could do My Story, or I could even do Beautiful somewhere on here, and then Story. So I have many, many options. Okay, so let's get to scrapping. Enough chit-chatting, let's scrap, right? Let me get my adhesive, my Tombow. Okay, so I'm going to be using the dark side of Bluebell, and I'm pretty sure that's the dark side, yeah. So there's the difference. And this is going to go in 3 inches. Oh, these all need to be trimmed again. Sorry, guys. They are not 12-inch pieces. They are 10-inch pieces. So let's just trim them down 2 inches on one side. Now you could always dovetail each one of these too. If you are a dovetailer like me, I would consider doing it, but I'm going to dovetail something else. So I'm not going to quite dovetail all of these little guys. That would be quite time consuming, but it'd be really pretty effect. Okay. Getting there. So this one's going to have quite a bit of resting space for your eye, which is always fun to play with because you can always embellish it with different sequins or stamps or shimmer brushes, pearls, stickles, all kinds of stuff can go in the nice blank space. That's the dark side. Keep the dark side up. And on this one I could always, like, they're all in a straight line on the diagram, but if you don't like this straight line, you can always make them zigzag back and forth, which would give it a little bit more character too. That could be fun. And maybe we'll play around with that because that sounds like a pretty neat idea to me. Okay, 2 more, guys. Sorry about that. Let's see, is this a full 12? No, this is not a full 12. I was going to say, this looks like a short one. I think this was from last Saturday. Okay. 10, and one last 10. And I will save all these little itty bitty pieces because they come in handy for little pendants, and I might use them on this as well for such thing. Okay. Okay, now that we truly have those cut, here's my daisy. 3-inch, and I'm just going to span an inch at the bottom and top. And if you'd like, and I might do this, is just draw a line on one side. And I might just go just a touch over that line. So I might draw the line just a little under, a little over 1 down, because then that way I don't have to worry about erasing it completely. So let's just line that up. And I mean like a 1/16 of an inch, if that, below that number 1. And I know I'm coming in 3 inches to 9 inches. So there's my line. This way I don't have to erase. I don't know about you, but I don't really care to erase very much. Okay. So I'm just going to glue these on, tape these on. Alright, there's my first strip. Now everything's going to build from there, so hopefully that was straight. At least straight enough, right? It's always the hope. Now see, I could always make them jagged, but I think I'm going to keep them in a straight line this time. I may make this page elsewhere as well and make it a jagged line there. So my cuts weren't super straight, but that's okay. You can always hide things with embellishments, right? I think that's why we use embellishments. I'm sorry if you're getting my head in the way. Now I like to use the dark sides of the paper, which is also considered the front side. So if you ever hear me use front side, back side, that's what I'm referring to. Because I think majority of the people, at least who I know, prefer the front side of the paper, the dark side. But that is the beauty of Close to My Heart paper. You get a choice. You don't get a choice on other papers. Now the other thing I could have done was tear some of these. And I would have left like another 1/4 inch on like these 1/2 inch strips or something, and I would have torn them. Just a teeny, 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 tiny amount. And that would be fun to reveal that white core. So again, maybe on another one. And I think next Saturday I'll be working on the family pictures. So this one I actually don't have printed yet. I just received it not too long ago, so I haven't gotten it printed yet, but I still need a couple more in the beginning of the book and then beginning of the album. And then the back of the album is all going to be families. Because he had 6 children, whom all had kids, at least 2, if not 3, and then my aunt, one of my aunts married a guy with 2 already, so she had 2 and he had 2, and so then there's 4 there, so there's, I think there's 15 of us grandkids, so quite a large family, and 4 of us are married. And there's 3 of us with kids of our own. Okay, so there it is. There's the background. That's actually quite lovely. I love that. I'm going to take my shears and I'm going to do dovetails on this guy. This is just a sapphire. I'm going to come up about 1 inch. So you trim in the middle, come up about 1 inch. I heard a really cool trick that if you're cutting dovetails, if you like cutting this way and you don't like cutting this way, you just flip it over and cut. So, and if you're not like me and you like to be precise, go ahead and use your Versamat. Figure my dovetails will be close enough to each other. I don't really need to be that exact. So there it is. And they're not. Looks just fine to me anyway. So that's going to go more towards the top. And then this bluebell, I think I might ink it because it's going to be overlapping this bluebell a little bit. So why don't we go ahead and ink it. And I have sponges. I can get them open. So what I do is I buy the one round sponge and then I cut it. I cut it all up. And then I put on there, I write on it with a marker or a pen. And so I have like B bell, so bluebell. And like sapphire is SAPP. So that way I know exactly which ones are which, and I don't have to worry about confusing them. So open up my ink. And then these are nice little wedges that I can easily handle. But I'm just going to distress this just a touch. Now you could do this with Distress Oxides too, but this is pretty easy to distress with this. And this will allow it to stand out too. So I'm sure you've seen me do this quite a bit actually. You guys watch my videos. I like distressing. Plus it makes it a dark line around the edge and it gives it a little bit more definition. So if you're looking for some definition or just something different, then that'll be it. Okay, one more side, and then we'll get to stamping after we build all this. So I'm not going to put a photo on here. I am going to write on my photo mat, so I remember that this is the very beginning of the book, very beginning of the album. It's going to be my grandfather's grandparents, or not his grandparents, his parents. Regina and Sydney are their names. Of course, they're no longer with us. In fact, I never did meet them. So I think that'll be really nice. So this is Regina and Sydney. And I believe my aunt put the year on there too, which was really helpful. But I'm going to also put beginning. Of album, just so that I get a true reminder, and that's all going to be covered up, so guess what, you don't care, right? You don't have to care what you write on that because it's going to be covered up. Now this one I might want the lighter side because I have the darker side here and here, so I think I do want the lighter side on this one. Give it a little bit more contrast. And I just go around the edges mostly. I'll put one strip in the middle, 2 strips in the middle. Depends if I go this way or that way, right? And I'm going to put this one right in this area. So that's about 4 inches down. Okay. This, I do want my photo to pop up. Just a smidge. So I'm going to use my 3D foam tape roll. This is my thin 3D foam tape. I don't want it sticking up a whole lot, but I do want it sticking up. And again, you don't have to undo all of these little itty bitty teeny tiny pieces. But I do recommend, and if it falls, who cares, right? You need some support in the middle anyway. I do recommend these shears though. These are the micro tip non-stick. To be honest, I don't know why we sell the other ones that aren't non-stick because I don't see a purpose in them. If you have a purpose, let me know so that I can understand. But I love these ones. They are sharp though. Don't cut yourself. Done it. Cut myself when I was making a dovetail once. I had my finger in the back where I was trimming the center of the dovetail, and it definitely got me. And they hurt. Okay. And they're pointy. They're really pointy. So a lot of these I'm not going to take off. I'm going to just take off like the edges and then the center ones. This one. And this will allow me to get some things in the back of this. And if you watched Wednesday, you know that sometimes I get a little carried away and then I just do them all because I forget what I'm doing, and it's just, I just keep going. I did that one. I wasn't planning on it. That's okay. It's all good, right? Okay. This one I'm going to keep like about, I want to overlap it into that one area over here. into that bluebell, but I think that looks pretty good. Pretty centered on there. And remember, this is 4 1/4, so I put like 1/8 of an inch over into this area, and it would be the same on this area, on that side, supposedly. I don't have visual cue for it like I do on this side. And that's one nice thing about vertical stripes, is you have visual cues. Okay, so let's go ahead and embellish. I'm going to go ahead and put this aside. Just my page. I need my first amount for stamping. And I don't know. Those of you watching, what do you think? My story, or the husband and wife, this is his parents, and the and sign is there, or Trust the Magic of New Beginnings, which is this really fun font. So maybe we'll think about that for a minute, and we'll just do the stamping of these flowers, and I have stamping of other flowers as well. So I do want these big guys out here. I already have this one, and it's pretty well colored for this album. So there it is. And I may just continue to do that on the big ones too, because it's super simple, and it's really, I think it's very elegant just to do the lines of the white. I might color the leaves something else, I don't know. I think this fits on a 3x, barely. Yeah, barely fits on a 3x3. So, and if I can get away with a 3x3, I will. It's my favorite block. I think it's just because it feels so good in your hands. It's like the perfect size. So, I do a rub, tap, tap, tap to get my inks, my stamps inked. And I'm using intense black because there is a very good chance I'm going to color these. Now, if you don't have intense black, you can use black, or regular black ink from the exclusive ink collection, or you can use archival and zap it with the heat gun, and that'll help you out. The thing about the intense black versus the archival is it's not as vibrant black, in my opinion. And a lot of people I've seen agree with that. They just, in fact, they'd rather use archival and not even deal with intense. But intense black is super fast drying, so it's really handy there. Handy dandy. And I think a really good one is probably the hydrangea and an ice blue gray. I'm wondering if that's what I used on that. I think the lavender is too purpley. I'll pull it out, but I'll test it. So I'll test it on a scrap. Let's do this cute little guy there. So this is the lavender. I think that's just too purpley. I don't think I'm going to use that one. But the hydrangea with the gray, I think it's more subdued than the lavender. It's just a little lighter. And then here's the gray. And you can blend them together and make your own custom color. So don't be afraid to use multiple markers. This is the dark. But let's just see what the darks do. So there's the light to dark, light on top, light on bottom, darks in the middle. I quite like it. I think I'm going to do it. So I don't know what I did here. Maybe I used a blue. I must have used a blue. Let's try blue. Probably ice blue is probably what I used. Looks like blue and gray is what I used. That might be really good combo too. That's what I used, I believe. It's either that or I used the hydrangea. Or purple. It's the hydrangea on the top. And see how it blends. Yep, don't know what I used on that one, but that's okay. I think I'm going to use, let's put these ones aside. I think I'm going to use ice blue and ice gray. I think this will be good for this. I'm going to use ice blue first. And I think I'm going to do the dark first. Just because I'm going to do only these little black lines. I'm only accenting where the artists have already accented the flower. I'm going to keep the other places white. And I'm just going to come through and blend it with a light gray. Kind of gives a bluebell look feel to it. A little bit. And these are light enough colors that the white isn't going to look... Oh, I missed a whole bunch, didn't I? There we go. I think I may only do one of these for right now. I'll add another one I can. Now the leaves, I think I'm going to do the same, but I'm going to try to use a really light green on them because I really don't want to, I don't have a lot of green in this album is the problem. So I'm going to use the dull, I think I'm going to use the dull green. That's a really light one. So, and I might go back over it with the gray. Just dull it out just a little bit more. And I'm going to leave these guys white. So, just go back over it with the light ice gray. Just makes it a bit more subdued. So I don't want a really loud green in here because that's not my color scheme at all for this album. And I probably should have added a green in there just because I am putting some flowers in, but I will think about it for next time. Okay, so there's those. Now the other thing I want to do is these. I only want this one. I only want this one down here, which is really cool. I love these flowers. I just got them and they are just wonderful. So much fun to use. They already have a line on them, so you already know your straight edge. You don't even have to line it up really. Again, I'm going to use Intense, but I don't think I'm going to color these. And if I do, it'll be at a later date. I'm not going to do it today. So I do a rub, 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 tap, tap, tap. These ones, I do make sure that I don't have any smudgies on the block because, although I think I'm going to cut this out anyway, so I guess it doesn't really matter. But I want 2 of these. And I am using Intense just in case I want to ink it up, or color it up later. See, I got a lot. I don't know if you guys can see that, but I got a lot of black right in here. And just by chance, if I don't trim that off, I'm just going to wipe it. Okay, there's that. I'm going to go ahead and wipe my stamp, clean it off. And we're getting pretty close to maximum time that I like to allow for this. So all I'm going to do for this is I'm going to cut it up. Just put that back. I'm going to cut these up. So this flower is going to go here. Probably more or less like that. Okay. My journaling I'm going to have in 2 different portions. And it's going to be here and down here. These, what I was thinking about these was having them back here. But I want them to shine through, so that I may have to have like that. But just have a very small portion of it there and have a similar portion over here. Just as little embellishments. And then put this right here. Okay, so that's how that's going to go. So that you guys know and can see what I'm doing, that's how it's going to look. I'm going to go ahead and finish this off camera since I've pretty much hit a time limit that I'm happy with and that you guys can, like you guys to keep coming back, and I don't want to take up your whole morning watching these or your whole day. So I will come back and I will do some more, or I'll have a photo of this, and yeah, so there it is. Thanks for joining me, those who did, and we'll see you on Wednesday. Bye.